What's going on YouTube? Super Insane 18 here, and today we are back with a Prank Kids deck profile. For those of you that don't know, the Brave tokens have now been released in the TCG. They have been changed to the Adventurer token, so we will refer to them as such moving forward, but Prank Kids is one of the decks that does actually gain a significant amount of power from being able to run this engine, so I wanted to make sure that I got you guys a very quick deck profile for it and a little bit of a combo as well. Let's go ahead and jump on in. Okay, so starting everything off, we are going to be playing 3 copies of Dropsies, 3 copies of Fansies, and 3 copies of Lampsies. This is very standard for a Prank Kids deck. The only place that we deviate is we are running 2 Roxies. If you watched my last Prank Kids profile months and months ago, you'll know that I played 3 of these because I wanted to max out on the number of kids that we had available to us, but unfortunately we just no longer have the space for the 3rd Roxies, so we do have to cut that down to 2. We are playing 1 copy of Nemesis Corridor, which is searchable by a card that we play that I will show you later in the profile, and this allows us to recycle our 1 Meow, because the last time I made a profile for this, Meow wasn't only at 1, Meow was at 3, but it is now only at 1, so this does add a lot of consistency and recursion for the deck. And then into the package that we want to talk about, we are playing 3 Enchantress of the Temple, followed by 3 copies of Rite of Arameser. These are essentially the same card because she's really only going to be used to search the Rite, so it's like playing 6 copies of Rite, and Rite is what actually allows you to get the engine going because it summons a token and searches our next card, Fateful Adventurer. Fateful Adventurer will let us search the copy of Wandering Griffin Rider, and then once we summon the Wandering Griffin Rider with its effect, which you can just summon it once you have the token on the field, which the Rite does for you, it becomes an Omni-Negate as your second summon, which I will show you at the end of the video. But when you summon the Griffin Rider, while you have the Fateful Adventurer, you are able to search the Draco back, the Rideable Dragon. This is an equip spell that realistically I don't want to play, but I have to in order to make it a true 2.5 card combo, which I'll explain during the combo portion of this video. Rounding out the monsters, we do have 3 copies of Ash Blossom. This is just the most generic hand trap, not necessarily the best, but it will hit something in every deck, so I think it's probably the best hand trap to play at the moment. Moving into our spells, we've got 1 Called by the Grave, 1 Foolish Burial. This is just kind of an extra piece for the Adventurer token engine, because this will let you send the Water Enchantress, and when the Water Enchantress is engraved, you can banish it to search for the Rite of Arameser. 1 copy of Instant Fusion, and then 1 copy of Pranks. We also have the 1 copy of Thunder Dragon Fusion. This is the card that will allow us to search for the Nemesis Corridor, like I was saying earlier. We send it off the Predaplant Verte Anaconda, spoiler in the extra deck, to make another Butler, and then we can banish it to search the Nemesis Corridor. We have 2 copies of Polymerization, 2 copies of Prank Kids Pandemonium. This is another card that I was playing 3 of, and honestly 3 of might be the better option, but I just needed extra room, so I did cut 1 of them because it is very searchable. So whether you want to search it off your Dodo, or if you want to send it off of the Fansies and then recur it from the grave using the other effect of Dodo, you have ways into it, so I don't really think more than 2 is necessary. Then we have 3 copies of Prank Kids Place. This is just another name for all your kids because it will search a kid on activation. And then 3 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. This is just in case you get hand trapped. You can either rip 1 out of your opponent's hand or draw into more pieces that you might need to be able to continue comboing. And finishing off the main deck, we have 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. This is a 42 card deck, but I think that's fine, and you guys will see in the combo tutorial why. It's really just a very easy, it used to be a 1 card combo, now it's, or 1.5, now it's a 2.5 card combo, so you'll see that in the combo portion. Let's move on to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, I have 1 copy of Rocket Ride, 1 copy of Weather Washer, and then we are playing 2 copies of Battle Butler. You don't necessarily need the 2 because you can always recur it from the graveyard using Pranks, putting it back into your extra deck, but I can't always think that I want to rely on a continuous spell because if they get rid of it, then I'm kind of out of luck, so I'd rather have 2, better safe than sorry. We are playing 1 copy of Totally Awesome to make off of the 2 Dropsies. You can check the previous combo videos to see how you make this. The combo still works. We do have one copy of Meow-Meow-Mu. Unfortunately, this was a very devastating hit to prank kids, not on this current list that we just got yesterday, but on the previous list they did put it to 1, which is why I feel like we have to play cards like Nemesis Corridor in order to be able to recycle it. We are playing one copy of Bow Wow Bark. This is part of the main combo, which you will see at the end of this video. Then we have 3 copies of Dodo-Doodle-Doo. I think that this is necessary at 3. It is your best searcher, and it does recur resources from the grave. If your opponent stops it, they only stop the one effect and you didn't use the others. Like, for example, if they Veiler or Impermit on summon and stop the search, you can just use itself and another kid to make another Dodo to be able to use the second effect and recur other resources from your graveyard. We have one copy of Asa, which this is kind of a flex spot. You don't need to use the Asa. You can pretty much do anything else instead, but the reason I like the Asa is because if this deck starts seeing a lot of traction again, people might start playing the Contacting C again, which will prevent you from doing your Prank Kids combos. So if they Contact C you, you can make the Asa, reborn the Contact C, Link Climb using it, and I just think it's a really good option, but this is a flex spot. You can replace this with anything you'd like. I am playing one copy of Predaplant Verte Anaconda for the Thunder Dragon Fusion, one copy of Nightmare Phoenix, just because it's good generic removal. We have one copy of Unicorn, and finishing everything up, we have the one copy of Access Code to help you push for game. Alright, so let's go ahead and show you guys the basic cookie cutter combo. It is a 2.5 card combo. You need either the Water Enchantress, the Rite of Aramise, or Foolish Burial. All three of those cards are interchangeable instead of this. Any one kid, it doesn't matter. I personally like to start with the Dropsies. No real reason, it's just I think it's better to start with this one. And then any card that you can discard. Technically, you're going to need 2 discards for the combo, but you will be searching the equip spell off of the Adventurer token engine. So let's go ahead and show you guys how it works. You start off by using the effect of Water Enchantress to banish it from your hand, and this will add you a copy of Rite of Aramise. You activate the Rite of Aramise, and this will let you summon an Adventurer token, and then activate the Fateful Adventurer from your deck. Now that you have the Fateful Adventurer, you can use it to add any card that lists the Adventurer token in its text. So you add the Wandering Griffin Rider, and then here's where you have your discard. So again, any discard doesn't matter. Now that you have the token and the Adventurer, you can use the effect of Griffin Rider to summon itself, and then this will activate, adding you the copy of Draco back, and now you have an Omni Negate as your second summon. Now the reason this is really important is because one of the biggest points, or choke points, of Prank Kids is if your first kid gets stopped without you really being able to do anything, and this kind of lets you play around that. So you're going to normal summon your kid and immediately link it away into the copy of Meow-Meow-Mu. Now we're going to activate the kid, in this case Dropsies, and we'll gain 1,000 and be able to summon a copy of Fancies. Now again, this is a very important choke point, because if they were to Ash this or have any way to stop me from getting this effect, I would not be able to continue, but that's where the Wandering Griffin Rider comes into play. If they were to Ash me or do anything else, I do have an Omni Negate, but just to show you guys the full combo, I'm going to assume that we don't have to use the Omni Negate right now, just to show you how the board would end, but in a situation where they stop the kid, you do have the Omni Negate to protect you. You're now going to take the Meow and the Fancies, and you're going to link them into a copy of Dodo-Doodle-Doo. Here you're going to activate the kid as Chainlink 1 and Dodo as Chainlink 2, because you want to make sure that the kid goes off first and foremost, so this is the important card to chain block. The Dodo-Doodle-Doo is going to add us a copy of Pandemonium, and Fancies is going to send a copy of Pranks to the graveyard to summon out a copy of Lampsies. Here we're going to activate the Pandemonium, fusing the Lampsies and the Dodo-Doodle-Doo into a copy of Rocket Ride. Here we'll activate Lampsies as Chainlink 1 and Rocket Ride as Chainlink 2, again just to chain block the Lampsies. The Rocket Ride will lose 1,000, Lampsies will burn our opponent for 500, and summon us out a copy of Roxy's. Here we're going to tribute the Rocket Ride to summon 2 from the grave, and here we will summon the Dodo-Doodle-Doo and any kid. I like to go for the Fancies because it has the highest defense in case they do stop us at this point for some reason, but you can do any kid, this is just a personal preference of mine. Now that you have these on the field, you are going to use the effect of Dodo-Doodle-Doo, tributing it off to add back 2 cards to your hand. The cards that you are going to add is the Pandemonium you already used, and the Pranks that you send off the Fancies. Now you're going to use the Roxys and the Fancies in order to link into your copy of Bow Wow Bark, and this will activate the Roxys, which is why it's a which is why I feel like you have to run the Draco back, because the Roxy's needs to be able to banish a card from your hand in order to get the summon, and this is just a searchable way to do it so that you don't have to open more cards. So you activate the Roxy's, you banish the Draco back, you summon out another Fansies. Again, this can be any kid, but first you draw, so I get a draw, it doesn't matter what it is. And then you summon out the Fansies. It can actually be any kid, it doesn't matter. I like to go for the Fansies again because it has the highest defense. And then you activate your pranks, you set your Pandemonium to your side of the field, and then you end your turn. During the end phase, the pranks is going to shuffle back the Roxy's, the Dodo, and the Rocket Ride, so these will go back to your extra, this will go into your deck. You go ahead and you draw another card. So now, because this was a 2.5 card combo, you still have the 2 cards you started with other than the 3 that you needed for the combo, and the 2 draws that you get during your turn, so you still have a 4 card hand, and what this does is on your opponent's turn, you're allowed to activate the Bow Wow Bark. This will add you back your Water and your Fire Prank Kid, which give you all of the materials that you need in order to be able to Pandemonium your opponent. You fuse using all 3 of your kids into a copy of Battle Butler, and now you have 2 Raigekis, and there was some confusion on one of my previous videos. The reason this is 2 Raigekis is because Butler's effect allows you to tribute himself to wipe your opponent's monster zones, but because you have the Meow-Meow-Mu in your grave, the first time you do it, you can banish the Meow-Meow-Mu instead. That means that you can use the Butler effect a second time since it is not a once per turn, so that gives you 2 board wipes and an Omni Negate off of just 2.5 cards. And there you guys have it. That is my take on the Adventurer Token Prank Kids deck. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, you know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and maybe consider supporting me on Patreon, because for just a single $1, you can support the channel in a way that I would never be able to tell you how much I appreciate. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.